This is the plaintiff, Elias Samas. He says he's a certified graphologist and also an expert handwriting analyst who authenticates signatures. The defendant was going through a divorce and hired him to prove a document was indeed signed by his wife. The defendant promised payment once his divorce was settled. It's been settled for some time now, and he wants the hard-earned $1,500 he's owed. This is the defendant, Spiros Anopoulos. He says the plaintiff did in fact prove a signature was his former wife's, but the court rejected it. Then he was supposed to testify in court, but didn't. And now all these years later, he's demanding payment? Ha! He's accused of being a phony.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff is a handwriting expert who was hired by the defendant who was going through a very bad divorce to prove that a document was signed by his wife, but ultimately the plaintiff says the defendant stiffed him. The defendant says the court rejected the plaintiff's work. It's the case of sue on the dotted line.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Elias Samas.
That's me.
You are suing Spiros Anopoulos
Correct.
for $1,500 in fees that you say he owes you for testimony and expert work that you provided many moons ago, 10 years ago, on a case for him. Tell me what's going on.
Mr. Zanopoulos called me and he asked me to testify and identify certain signatures.
Okay, and what is your expertise?
I am a certified graphoanalyst.
Graphoanalyst. You are what the rest of us call a handwriting expert?
Yes.
Okay.
And I am a psychologist.
And you are also a psychologist?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you still practicing?
Little bit.
Okay. So he calls you and he asks you to do this work.
Yeah.
And this was 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Okay.
I sent him letters and I visited him at his home, but he never paid anything.
Why did you wait so long to file a lawsuit? Okay, that's it.
I have no explanation.
Sometimes that's the best answer because it's the honest answer. What is going on? You were having a divorce.
Yeah, I was in a divorce case.
Okay.
And my lovely ex-wife denied some signatures.
Signatures on what?
And some financial papers.
From where?
From property and overseas.
Properties overseas?
Yeah.
So she was denying she had signed something?
Yeah.
All right. And so
so
you needed to hire a handwriting expert?
Yeah.
All right. And how did you pick him?
I see it in the newspaper.
What did it say in the newspaper that made you attractive?
Graphology and Greek language because he's Greek too.
Okay.
So, and I go and see him at his office. I have some letters from my ex-wife. So he put it together and say, yes, it's the same person. I asked to give me some report for the court. So I remember, if I remember well, because it's 10 years ago, I think I paid him $1,000.
Now, your recollection is he didn't pay you at all?
I don't remember to have received anything.
Anything at all from him?
I thought, and I did not charge him for the court appearance, which is $2,500.
Okay, because you went to court, and as it turns out, the judge did not take his testimony.
Denied the report he gave me.
Why did the judge not accept the report as evidence?
Because the case was in trial, and that don't reported evidence from before. That's what I understand.
The judge thought it wasn't relevant.
Yeah, and then I go again and I ask him to come to court, and he said he asked me to pay him $1,500 for the.
So you think that the $1,500 that he's suing you for is for a court appearance?
Yes.
That you agree he made, but then the judge didn't let him testify?
Yes.
So you think he shouldn't pay anything for that? Even though he's there for a couple of hours or whatever?
Excuse me, Your Honor. After a while, he called me, and I said to him, look, you came in a court, but you don't did nothing for me. You don't testify.
Right, but if he's in, I'm just curious about how your reasoning goes. If he's sitting in court for you for a couple of hours and through no fault of his own, the court won't accept his testimony, then why would you think that people shouldn't get paid?
No, I asked him to do something on the money we agree. Because Anyway,
I don't know what that means. Meaning that you didn't want to pay him for being in court.
to cut from $1,500 to cut something. He agreed. Also, he called my...
And then what? What was it cut to?
No, nothing. He
agreed.
He said he gonna think. And after that, after 10 years...
Oh, then the next time, he took him 10 years to think.
Yeah.
And then the next time you give it, so he says he was sending you letters. That's not true according to you?
No.
Did you ever have any conversations with him during the course of these 10 years telling him, oh, don't worry, I'll
I
pay?
sent a certified letter and another letter.
When did you send those?
I have the
May I see them? How long have you been a handwriting expert?
over 30 years.
Okay. And as I understand from your complaint, you worked on some pretty high-profile cases.
Yeah, Son of Sam.
You worked on Son of Sam?
Yeah.
What did you do on Son of Sam?
He used to send letters to Breslin at the Daily News. And I had a pretty accurate personality profile. He was psychotic. He was preoccupied with the religious issues. And what was interesting is when one of my patients had the same handwriting, I got scared. I asked his parents to go visit them and see the environment. I went there and he had the same symbols over the tree, on the bed, on the walls. I got very scared. Next day they put the sketch of Son of Sam and my patient looked like him. But the next day they caught the real Son of Sam.
Oh, and it wasn't your patient?
So I didn't.
Oh, good. Okay. Now, were you actually...
And Jean-Benet Ramsey.
JonBenet Ramsey?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you do on the JonBenet Ramsey case?
I had an extensive examination and comparison because there was a ransom on the little girl bed.
Right. A ransom note.
And that handwriting matched the guy who was charged for that. But they let him go. I don't know why.
I read an article that you submitted for my consideration that's about you, and it sounds like in your practice throughout those years, you did more than just compare handwritings. According to you, you can actually tell a psychological profile of somebody based on the handwriting.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I mean, because, you know, I'm sort of skeptical. That's why I want you to tell me how you do.
By looking at the letter formation of the handwriting and the signature.
Okay.
And then there is something else we do called emotionality. I identify the person as withdrawn, aggressive, good judgment, sympathetic, etc. When I receive cards on Christmas, I don't read the content of the cards. I look at the handwriting and see how they are doing.
And you feel like you can tell how they're doing based on the handwriting?
Yeah, I can do your handwriting.
You want to do my handwriting? I don't know. Things are going pretty good. I don't really want anybody to... I don't want anybody to tell me I got problems I don't know about. What do you want me to write? Bear with me.
Write one line and sign it the way you sign a check.
Just write anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is 10 years too long to wait to file a lawsuit?
Yes.
Why?
He should have done it right when it happened, not wait so long.
Why is it too long to wait?
Simply, there's a statute of limitations. I don't know what it is in this case.
But is it an issue of fairness?
It's really an issue of unreasonable waiting for too long.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
You are not sensitive to criticism, which is good. You have a lot of pride, which is good. And you are talkative. You have to be. You are not secretive. And you are analytical. And you select your friends. You don't associate with anyone. You are very selective in your relationships. And you use the language gracefully, not the slang language.
Well, you either are very good at what you do or you watch my show. All right. Well, that was fun, but we have a problem. And just let me tell you what the problem is. Did you ever go back to the lawyer to find out, to get any records or anything, to figure out what was paid and what wasn't?
I called and he said to me, after so many years...
What was the so many? Did he tell you?
He told me, the limitation 6 years.
6 years. It's 6 years. And you know why? The lawyer throws out everything after 6 years?
You say I have in a storage, but this...
All right, I'm going to tell you. You don't have to tell me. All right? Because there's something called a statute of limitations in the law. And what it says is, with very few exceptions, like first-degree murder is an exception, but with very few exceptions, we do not allow people to bring lawsuits or criminal charges after a certain amount of time. Why? Because witnesses' memories fade, people are entitled to throw out stuff after a certain amount of time, and the statute of limitations for what you are saying occurred is 6 years, and we're 10 years out. And that's a problem for you, because if it's 10 years old, it's almost double the 6 years. You can't bring a lawsuit for that now. You would have had to bring it within the 6 years. Now, so we put to a side whether you got paid $1,000 and it was $1,500 more, or whether you got paid $0 and you think that you don't have to pay people just because they don't end up testifying, which you're wrong on. The answer is you can't even go forward with the lawsuit if it's been more than 6 years, and by your admission, it's been 10. So that analytical mind that we were talking about forces me to abide by the law and rule in favor of the defendant in this case. Good luck.
And so the judge rules in favor of the defendant because of the statute of limitations. Step in here a little closer to me and tell me, you didn't know that before you came in?
I didn't know that.
10 years, you didn't know that 10 years was much too long to
Send
sue?
him letters and he didn't answer.
Yeah.
What I'm supposed to do?
Well, I don't know. The law says you can't sue after 6, so what are you supposed to do? You done? All right, so right down this way. Right there. All right. Right there.
That's yours.
All right, so come on in here and tell me, why didn't you pay the guy?
No, I don't deny to pay. Because, I was after the trial, long divorce, like Greek fat divorce, Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
And
but why didn't you pay him?
I asked him, he called me, and I asked him to reduce because he came to the court, but he don't testify. Say, do something, just for your time. He said, okay, and okay is after, today.
Harvey?
The statute of limitations that we've been talking about varies from state to state. So you should either check online or check with a lawyer if you're in a dispute and you want to know how long you have to file a lawsuit.